When you hear the Korean word ajumma, meaning a middle-aged woman, what image does that bring up? For many, they will think of an older Korean woman with short permed hair, perhaps wearing a sun visor and loud clothes, with a no-nonsense attitude as well. Now picture them hip-hop dancing. It may be hard to imagine, but we don't need to because there is such a dance crew. Based in the US in San Diego, an amateur hip-hop dance crew of middle-aged Asian American women have been performing flash mobs at a wide variety of locations for several years now, dressed as the stereotypical ajumma. They've been doing so to celebrate ajummas and to dispel the negative connotations surrounding the term, as well as having fun and bring joy to people as well. They are called Ajumma EXP, and I'm delighted to say that for this week's Touch Base in Seoul, we have one of the co-founders, Leanne Kim, joining us via video call. Ms. Kim, hello, and thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. We're so excited to talk about the goodness of Ajumma EXP.
When I first heard about this dance crew and saw the videos, it definitely brought a smile to my face, and I'm sure it did for many others around the world as well. Can you tell us first, how did this idea come about, and why did you decide on the Ajumma theme?
Well, I think all of us women go through that process of getting older, right? And we have to deal with our own kind of biases of what it means to get older. And so how Ajumma EXP became, it started as a birthday surprise and ended up as a movement. So on my 47th birthday, a group of my mostly Korean American friends came to surprise me, and they were all dressed up as traditional ajummas. I had no idea they were doing this. And of course, I dressed up like a sexy 47-year-old woman, like a cougar, as they say here in the US. And I was so shocked, but they brought me my own wig, my own visor, so I went in and changed. And as you can imagine, how fun it must have been to go out with a gaggle of 15 women, all wearing short curly hair wigs, visors, and loud, comfortable clothes. And there was some kind of freedom of being underneath that visor and not worrying about the way that we look and just, being ourselves. And at the same time, we noticed that nobody was paying any attention to all of us because they just saw us as, a group of older women. And it made me, all of us think about like how we ourselves look at older women and how we devalue them and how they become invisible the older that they get. And so one of my friends and I, as we were discussing this and reflecting about our own opinions about what it means to be an ajumma middle age, we decided, why don't we reclaim that word? Even in Korea, they don't use ajumma anymore. They call older women imo or 언니, right? And then you go from imo, 언니 to 할머니, right? And then there's no ajumma anymore. How can we reclaim that word and shine a bright light on ajummas? And why don't we do it in a way that's surprising? So that's how we came up with the idea of flash mobbing, hip hop flash mobbing. That's the least thing that you would think about a group of ajummas would do. And that's how Ajumma EXP was born.
Right, so I guess it's about breaking the stereotypes or expectations that people might have about ajummas then?
Yes, it's two things. It's one, like turning the idea of what people think about ajummas upside down. And then, bringing joy into their lives, because most of people think of ajummas as like rude women who are very loud and boisterous, right? And just, unsolicitedly give their opinions about certain things. But the other thing is changing the way that we ourselves feel about getting older and about ourselves. And I think that in society, whether you're in Korea or whether in the United States or anywhere else in the world, many cultures, they believe that there's an expiration date, especially for women. Maybe in your 20s and 30s, you're on that hamster wheel because, these are the best years of your lives. And we want to express that, no, the best is yet to come. As we get older and we gain more wisdom and we gain more confidence and we realize all those things that we worry about don't really matter, right? And so there is this internal piece of what Ajumma EXP is about.
So then how did you get started? You had this idea, but then how did it come about? Were you or your co-founder Sonia Chin hip hop dancers before?
No, of course not. None of us. In fact, most of these women have never danced in front of people. And if you put them on a dance floor, many of them would run the other direction, right? And that's why Ajumma is so special, is because we ask these women to come out of their comfort zone. So
Hmm.
we just began asking our friends, and we're like, we have this crazy idea of dressing up like traditional Ajummas and surprising people with a flash mob. And they really thought we were crazy, but they came with us. And so we had about 12 when we first started, and we actually like crashed a party, crashed a gala party of the San Diego Asian Film Festival, and people were wearing ball gowns, and we rode right in the Ajumma train, and the dance floor just kind of parted like the Red Sea.
Right.
And we took over and we danced our hip hop, and people were dying, and not dying because they were laughing. They were dying because they wanted to join us because we were having so much fun. And from there it just kind of grew and grew and grew, and now we're a group of about 35, 40 women.
Right.
But over our 6 seasons we've had about maybe 60 to 80 women participate in different ways.
Okay. And you said it started 6 years ago.
So 6 seasons. So 5 years ago. So we
Okay.
include that first year, our first season. So now we finished six, and we're going into our
Right.
seventh season.
And as you said, you've grown to over 35, 40 members currently. Can you tell us a bit about the backgrounds of these women? As you said, they're all amateur dancers, amateur hip hop dancers, but they come from a wide variety of backgrounds as well, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, many of them are Korean American, many of them are Asian American, but we also have white women. We've had a black woman. We have Filipinos. We have women who are stay-at-home moms. Have women who've never had children, but all of us are middle-aged, meaning minimum 35, more like 40, 50.
Hmm.
And we're all going through the things, whether it's perimenopause, menopause, all those Ajumma things, right? Very, we have a lot of professional women, doctors, lawyers, teachers, senseis. It's so interesting because it's a motley crew of women who would never ever get together or know one another, but it's through our Ajumma hood that we were able to come together and create a whole new community of women.
Hmm.
And what I'll say is that the response from the community, from both Asian, non-Asian, young and old, men and women, has been, I don't know what this is all about, but I want some of that. And we've made aging somewhat cool. And we've also taken out a little bit of that fear and that anxiety of what older women look like. I'm going to be 53 this year, and I proudly say that.
Hmm.
And I am now, I feel, living the best part of my life.
Well, it's absolutely amazing, I feel, what you guys are doing. I was also curious, how do you train? How often do you train? How do you put your performances together?
Oh, and that's a whole other story. I mean, as you can imagine, trying to get together 35 to 40 women multiple times to practice, especially if they've never danced before, is very difficult. So we have one woman here in San Diego. She's an Ajumma too, and she's a real dancer, and she's choreographed everything for us.
Wow.
So she does one dance. We start in the fall. We practice for about 4 or 5 months because that's how many times it takes, because people they're busy with their lives and with their children. And then we used to do our flash mob in January to align with Korean American Day, but now we've moved it to March for International Women's Day because we felt that it was more representative of the members of our group. And so it really works for us. It takes months to prepare and just minutes to do the dance. And, over the years, I have found that this is not just a fun thing. We are really joy activists.
Hmm.
I think it's really important for women and for people in general to get off that hamster wheel of work and family and stress and intentionally and deliberately find ways to bring joy into their lives. And we have found that as joy activists, we have not only changed our own lives, but we've inspired many other people around the world. And really thanks to media like yours that have so much interest in like, why in the world does this even exist? And we really do exist to bring joy into the world.
That activist side of the group, I think, is interesting as well. You mentioned how you've moved it to coincide with International Women's Day. I believe there was a performance, several performances in different locations around San Diego this year on March 8th. You have other political messages in your videos and performances as well. You have videos related to Black Lives Matter and encouraging people to go vote. That seems to be an important side to you and the group.
Absolutely. I think that part of being an Ajumma is having an opinion and expressing your opinion. And many of us here in the United States have dealt with racism, have dealt with trauma, have dealt with biases. And we also recognize that it was on the backs of Black Americans here in the United States that had opened the doors to civil rights and certain laws and policies that allowed us to even come into this country. And so, yes, we have a lot of fun, but we also do very much care about the political health of our community and the racial health of our community as well. And so we try to, and that's one of the reasons why we also do hip hop. Many of us get requests to dance to K-pop. That is something that I think people expect us to do, right?
Right.
And where does K-pop come from? It's inspired by, quite frankly, Black Americans who created the whole industry of hip hop. And so by keeping true to the hip hop culture, we are indeed kind of part of that whole K-pop world, but we wanted to be closer to the roots and honor that as well.
Well, you've had 6 successful seasons so far. What's next for Ajumma EXP? What does the future hold?
You know, we're all volunteers, and we always say, like, are we going to do this again? But each and every year, we are so surprised. So this year, we got on Good Morning America. We've been tweeted and also shared by Diplo. I didn't even know who he was. He has 6 million followers. We've been on big social media accounts like Upworthy, and now we have like literally hundreds of women who want to join us and people from around the world who want to start an Ajumma EXP in their chapter. So what does the future look like? Who knows? Maybe there might be a K-drama series on Netflix about Ajumma EXP. And, life goals, I would love Missy Elliott to give us one shout out because we do love ourselves some Missy Elliott. But at least what we can control in our next season, we want to also include the community. So what we're going to do is we plan to release the last part of our video so that people can practice on their own. And then when we have our flash mob day, they can jump in and be part of the experience rather than just watching. They can actually join the experience. So we're thinking about different ways to make it interactive and also include people from around the world. There may be something that we can do with people submitting videos, for example.
Sure.
Because we feel very connected, not just to San Diego, but to the whole community.
Sounds like you have ambitious goals indeed. Perhaps is there any chance of a Ajumma EXP flash mob in South Korea as well? I know you have a lot of fans in South Korea, of course.
Oh my gosh, you know what would be so great is if we can do like an Ajumma EXP tour in South Korea, I'd love to start something like Ajumma EXP in South Korea, but then like half of South Korea is Ajumma, right? So like it would be a very, very big movement. Like we might have to create a whole political party, So there's, the 2 political parties and then there's Ajumma EXP. So, who knows? I won't count it out.
Sure. As I said, very ambitious goals. Well, we think it's amazing what you guys are doing and what the group is doing. We look forward to seeing more unexpected and fun flash mobs. We'll have to wrap it up there. We've been talking to Leanne Kim, co-founder of Ajumma EXP. Thank you once again for your time.
Thank you so much.